A land conquered. That's a powerful phrase. When you hear it, what do you see? A home worn down by the boots of empire? A people torn apart by strife or bowed and bent by oppression? That's what they want you to see. When they conquered our home, the empire thought they had taken everything from us. But what they don't understand is the more you take, the hungrier people get. And friend, we got hungry. When we had lost everything, we found each other. We found ancient truths and forgotten poems and stories that told us who we used to be. Together, we drove out the conquerors. Now, our home, our haven, is a land reclaimed.
Hey.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Why don't you come on in? It's awfully cold outside. Come and join us for a spell. We got a nice cup of hot tea or whatever beverage you prefer. I don't often get visitors this time of year. Hope you're doing all right. I'm just entertaining a few of my friends, and as long as you're here, why not come and sit by the fire and pull up the old-fashioned holiday special vibes. Welcome to All Nerds Here, everyone. This is an actual play podcast of Legacy Free from the Yoke by Mina McJanda and Fyodor Kasatkin. Today was supposed to be our finale episode. However, as you can tell, both from the display and probably from the announcement, Vinitio is perpetually too excited to actually finish playing the game. He's kind of stuck in a temporal loop. So while we wish Vinitio a speedy recovery, his pain is your gain, because we're getting a bonus episode of Haven, and we will be ending the show next week with good reason. Yes, Triple Comics, this is the clip from the Dino reveal. We will be back, all of us together, for the ride off into the sunset moment. But for the meantime, please enjoy one more time to stretch our wings, spread our wings. Look around Haven and kind of take a last look back at what we've done, because I really appreciate the work that everyone's done, and I think this is a great chance to see some of the things that we haven't seen before in Haven. Maybe get a look at a lot of different quick characters, see what things are like the world around. So thanks for joining us, folks, and let's get right to it with the intros. Bringer of Minions Ahegao, it's Simon.
Hello, it's me, Simon. My pronouns are he, him. I usually play the Newfound Family playbook here on this show. They're called The Woven. I also have an avatar character. I used to be playing Shochi, and now I'm playing a little shithead named Ozomatli, who I'm sure will do no wrong.
Of course. Welcome, real quick, welcome, Raiders. How's it going? Thank you, Josephine, for bringing so many awesome folks to this. This is our unexpected bonus episode, so you all are in for a treat. We're doing a quote-unquote holiday special of Haven, a land reclaimed, an actual play of Legacy Free from the Yoke, while we wait on our temporarily looped friend, who's actually just a GIF. We know his sound doesn't work, but feel free to continue making that joke in the chat. I actually do really enjoy it, but just so you know, it's an animated yife. While the real video recovers. Welcome, everyone, and continue on with the intros. Alex.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. My pronouns are he, him, and I will be playing the Forgers of Unbroken Bonds, who are a faction of cool, creative people. And they are going to be, I guess I'll be making a quick character for today's event. I kind of want to play a himbo today.
Awesome. Then we've got Rue, our producer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. My pronouns are she, her. I use the Teachers of Ancient Truth playbook, and they are renamed the Ashes of Prithvi. I usually play Jahi, but we'll see for today who I will be playing.
Ooh.
Let's skip over our friend in a time loop and go right to Kevin.
Oh shit! Hi, I'm Kevin. My pronouns are he, him. I am, as every week, time challenged. This week, even though I made it on time in a different way, I guess. I don't know. I play whoever the fuck I want.
Excellent. Well, for now, let's just jump right in. Once again, I'm JR. I'm the arbiter / GM of this game, and we use the Guardians of History playbooks, and my pronouns are he, him. Winter has come to Haven, and it is the quiet moments before the war, with enemies approaching and invading on two fronts. The world finds itself waiting, pausing breathlessly as conflict builds like a storm. And in those moments, you know how when you look at a storm and you can hear the thunder rumbling and see the flashes of light in the distance, but it's still just in the sky and the rain has yet to come. In those moments where the ground yearns for the relief of the rain, and you can feel the electricity in the air, and all you want is to either dance out in it or find shelter as soon as you can. So too do the people of Haven find themselves caught in such a storm of emotions, a storm of memories. Around Haven, people are struggling to breathe, to bunker down, to make ready for the terrible days ahead. But for now, at least, there is respite. For now, there is a moment to breathe, a moment of sweet relief, a moment to dance. I think let's pull up the map real quick, just to show it off to everyone.
There it is.
On the 4th.
Yeah.
It is.
So we're going to kind of show off a lot of different things around Haven. I've got one thing that I'd like to see, and then I will open the floor to like where you all want to check in. So we're going to check in up here at Mahasmasanam, which is a city of Viditias. And I know Viditya isn't, well, he's here in the chat, but what I would love to see is what it looks like where, because the city is about to be under siege. In fact, the city is under siege. The Tusk Lords have come riding over the northwestern horizon. There are 5 great banners being carried amidst a sea of mammoths and soldiers wearing metal and riding leathers and armed with curved bows and long spears. The 5 banners identify the 5 other houses of the Tusk Lords that haven't allied with you yet. But the walls of Mahasmasanam are strong and bolstered by more than just stone. The atmosphere within the city is still relatively safe. And I'd like to know what the folks there are doing. So maybe let's get some quick characters there real quick. I don't necessarily know that we need dice for this opening vignette, but what does life look like right before, for people in Haven? And this is a big multicultural city, so there's more than just the sages of Cinder that live here.
good question. I think the sages absolutely are probably the most dominant because it is like their city. But the Woven have spread as people of diaspora across pretty much everywhere in Haven, and so I think there absolutely is a Woven contingent here. I think for them, because it is further north and we're used to being a little more, it's not like cold, right? This is a very jungly kind of mid India, right? South India,
Yeah.
I think is kind of mostly the climate that we've settled on. So like it can get cold, but it's not going to get like, I don't know, it's not like New England.
Yeah, no, it's that area is very warm even in winter.
Yeah. But I think maybe we're still like not quite used to it. It's been a few generations.
It has been. I mean, look, I've lived in Texas my whole life, and I'm still not used to it when it gets below 50.
Oh, poor baby.
Wow.
What's it like below
Off-
50?
Off screen,
What's it
I've
like
got
below
like
60?
2 sweaters ready to go.
I do not leave the house when it is below 50.
It was below 50 once, like back in the 80s in California.
Yeah, right.
When it's like if it ever snows or if there's ever ice on the road, like just civilization shuts down and there's nothing happening. You're like, we don't know what to do. We got to put snow chains on the dinosaurs.
Just start sobbing uncontrollably.
Yeah. But I think what we're doing is trying to work with some of the traditions that are local to Paspasonum, where I think a lot of the Woven here have kind of gone with the Tusk Lords' sort of motivations towards integration and cultural exchange, where they're like, well, let us teach you some of the things that we know, and like maybe we can make a whole thing out of it. So there's probably a row of structures within like a Woven quarter that I think are welcoming a lot of people in to say like, hey, come partake of like what we have to show you, like food and music and dance and all those things, and you teach us something too in exchange.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I think some of the younger Ivory writers would definitely be interested in this, and they might ask things like, why do you spend so much time worrying about the dead? That's something that we've noticed about everyone in this place. The dead come first, but to us the dead are gone. Life is for the living. Why this fascination?
Yeah, I think that conversation is like they're writers, maybe at like a long table, and there's some Woven, I'd say like younger folks maybe, and with like a few mixtures of older folk. It's not about obsession with death. We are guided by our ancestors. We spent so much time listening to those who came before. When they pass on, they still have knowledge to teach us. When they go beneath the earth, we find comfort among them. It's like coming home. When you pass on, you were never really gone. Your physical form is left behind. Your bones, your spirit is still there, and when the spirit has a place to return to, when it recognizes where it is coming home to, we call on it. I do not see that as obsession. I see that as tribute, kindness.
How very interesting. Good and very comforting tradition. When one of us falls, either peacefully or through violence, we give them back. We give them back to the sky. We let their body feed the birds. We let their blood slake the earth's thirst, and then they are gone.
You leave them there? Where does the spirit go?
I don't know. I suppose on to wherever is beyond here.
This is strange to us, as you understand. We are around our ancestors always, but tell us if we are wrong, but your people seem so focused on what is over the next horizon. The dead have gone. They have had their time. And the world belongs to the living.
Another one kind of shoves forward, and this is like a very, very jock-looking fellow. Ha! You have to understand. Not all of us are. Not all of us are as learned as you folks, but I am. I've paid attention. We believe that the world that gave us birth will in turn do so again one day. Or there's nothing. Or we're all wrong. That's the one thing I'm certain of, is that no one really knows, and they get really mad if you say they don't know.
We are fairly certain. We know.
That's very true. And I think let's leave that scene for a moment.
Maybe there's like one of the elders, who maybe there's a bone warden there, who is like passing by, like these priests who like talk to spirits, and like the some of the finest bone wardens are like underground somewhere in a cenote, communing with ancient gods and spirits to learn about the universe, and like still wearing the mempo because it is ceremonial as much as it is like a mark of culture, adorned with this like bone laced clothing and light armor, like a mixture between armor and religious robes. Just walks by and says, we are fairly certain.
Yeah, I like to imagine they're just like, whoop. We are fairly certain.
Yeah.
And let's does anyone else have an idea for what might be happening in Mahasmasanam for now?
I think one thing is that the forgers are actually doing an amount of like, I don't know if it's exactly leafleting. Yeah, it's leafleting. They've got some Skybax riders flying around on various pterosaurs, and they have some leaves that they have done some cool artistry to, so that they've like scraped off the leaf so that they can like write on it more easily. And they're basically advertising like, hey, come to Skyfire City. The war is not touching Skyfire City. It's great there. There's a festival every day.
Oh my god.
Now,
I love it.
just so we're clear, I think paper does exist in the world, but I
There's
do like
leaves instead.
I do like it if they're choosing on purpose to use leaves instead. I
Yeah.
think that feels very much like what the forgers would do.
Yeah. Let's
we can come back to Mahasmus and we'll check back in here. But let's cut over to Skyfire City for a moment. And since we're zooming in there, why not tell us about the festival that is happening right now?
Oh, sorry, was that-
Because yep.
I got distracted by the chat.
Oh. So what I was saying is there's a party every day, right? We're gonna
Yeah.
let's jump over to Skyfire City. I think this is a very good segue. Let's see what life is like over there right now.
All right. So I literally have a mechanic for
You
there
do?
being a party every
Ooh.
day.
Look at
Because,
that.
yeah, because Free from the Yoke is extremely good in many ways.
Yes. I just popped up the overlay for the map for a second.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So now we are popping over to Skyfire City, which you can see everyone is circling or drawing hearts around or underlining or making X's on, whatever different shapes there are. We got, yeah, even that one. Even that, Kevin, was that you?
It's obviously kind
I
of.
think it was Venetian.
I'm making
Uh-huh.
mad faces.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that was Kevin. Kevin, you know what you did? I demand that you spit out your chewing gum, unless you brought enough to share with the class.
There'll be no mastication in this class, young man.
Oh.
But yeah, so go ahead and
We're
tell
back
us
up.
your mechanic and the festival that is happening, Alex.
Yeah, so this mechanic is called the Jeweled City. You have made the seat of your house a thing of beauty. When the game zooms in on your city, describe the festival taking place there and build a stat. Pick a stat characters who participate get fleeting advantage with.
Ooh.
I
Ooh.
think that this is going to be a storytelling festival where everyone has to tell very cool stories of something that they have done during the year. This is like an annual festival, but you also it's like a trickery festival to increase your cunning. So you also have, they're doing the two truths and a lie improv game where you tell two true stories and one false story, and then you have to guess what the other people do, and there's like various little prizes you can win and stuff.
I like that. What are the decorations here like to
They
mark
are-
that the festival is happening?
Yeah, they're very opulent. I think that they are selling like fancy decorative masks that you can wear, and you have 3 different masks, and you have to like put one on your face and one on each of your shoulders, and then you like switch out and rotate which one you're wearing based on like complex things about whether you've guessed someone else's lie correctly or if they've guessed yours correctly, things like that.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Is there music in this festival?
they
Or
got
to market.
yeah, music for days. There's a lot of people using various percussion instruments, lots of drums, lots of cymbals, and what are those things called? Tambourines and stuff. People keeping the beat, and pan flutes like Shimali uses.
Excellent.
Various stringed instruments, guitar type things.
I think we see Chimali here returning to Skyfire City. I think this is the moment where
Cool.
the
Thank you.
plesiosaur is kind of bringing her back, and folks, if you want to have some quick characters to give some reactions or something like that, I think that is a good point. What stat do people have advantage with here?
Everybody gets advantage with cunning.
Okay, excellent. And I think so that folks know what we're talking about, there is a rainbow scaled plesiosaur that is the size of a mountain,
Right.
which we can show off. I think, Rue, are we ready? Are we equipped to show off this gorgeous fan art?
Oh,
Uh,
Let's show off our fan art real quick.
Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, of course. And as I think the plesiosaur has to move very slowly so as not to overwhelm the city with its waves, with the motion of its arrival. And I think there's a general hue and cry as people who aren't aware of what has been happening deep in the ocean start preparing for disaster or who knows what. As Chimali comes, like, you know, just like riding in atop the head of the plesiosaur.
Yeah, and I think she's just blasting on her pan flute to like let everybody know that it's okay. She's playing like a happy song that's about like, you know, someone going on a voyage and coming home.
There is I think the festival has kind of come to a halt as all eyes kind of turn towards the nearby dock, or however it is that that you get from the ocean into Skyfire City, or near enough to it.
Yeah.
And one of the leaders of the house has come to speak with you, and she draws herself to her full height. What's a good forger name?
Ooh, good question. Do a quick Google. How about Coatl? I think that might be how you say that.
Yeah. She draws herself to her full height, which is not very tall. She's never been very tall, but Coatl is very prolific among the forgers. She has created, you know, she's the sort of person that never sold out, but like remained prolific throughout their career. I think she's a sculptor. And, you know, probably released like several commercially successful works, probably like has had gallery openings and that sort of thing, and is but has all done that without like deliberately doing anything. You know, like when an artist accidentally stumbles onto something that the zeitgeist really wants.
Yeah.
And that kind of has helped her move in the powerful circles. What are you playing at, Chimali?
And I guess the plesiosaur lowers me down on its head.
No, yeah, this is after. Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
hold on.
it's let you walk off and is kind of like waiting patiently in the bay. And let's show off what this plesiosaur looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got both versions up.
Ooh.
I love the map accurate version. Someone took the just me working as hard as I could to get those little lines on there on the map.
Is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Oh my god.
They took
That
the
is-
map version.
It's so good.
Oh,
It's
it's so
very good.
creative.
To get the different jaws, different colors, and I'm so pleased that paid off.
And who did this again?
I think it is The Last Big Cat in chat.
Yeah.
Thank
Heck
you,
yeah.
The Last Big Cat. That was incredible. Please go give them some love. So that's just kind of like waiting there with a mouthful of razors and a massive bulk just kind of bobbing, waiting. What are you playing at, Chimali?
I'm not playing, I'm working. This is very important. And I think that Chimali usually is like very chill and easygoing, and for one of the first times we've seen her, she is like deadly serious. And she says, there is... So you see my friend here. This is Rainbow, and they're very important and very neat, and they lived at the bottom of the ocean. I went and got them. We have a problem, though.
Yes,
which is that
I can see that. I can
No,
see the
the
problem.
worst one is the one you can't see. There's another one like this, but evil.
And as if on cue, the ground shakes and the earth trembles. Not for very long, and not as not enough to like knock over buildings or anything like that. But the earth shakes and everyone feels it, and the mood throughout the assembled crowd starts to tip over from curiosity to fear.
Mm-hmm. And she says, we need to get everyone together. The whole council, all of the artisans. This is a project. We need the Tempered Monarch. They need to call everyone together. And
Jamali, this is very important, yes, but breathe.
okay. All right, I did it. Now, the next thing is that we're going to need to get a lot of materials. We need to build, so you know, the armor, the walking armor that we build, or that we used to build, but obviously we don't do it anymore because it's evil, but we really could start on it again. Anyway, we're going to need to make a really big set of that for Rainbow so that it can win against the monster that's making the earth shake there, because I think making the earth shake is the least that it's going to do. We're probably going to start seeing tidal waves and I don't know what, and soon.
I see. You are either overly excitable or are very worried. In either case, I'll assemble the council.
A little of both.
I will assemble the council, and as she walks in front of the imaginary camera we have, I think the scene transitions to the council chambers with Skyfire Peak, deep within the volcano itself, near where the flames of in the very center choose the Tempered Monarch. I think is the seat of power for the Forgers. And sitting around, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Forgers are very much like Art Deco, like everywhere.
Yeah.
So sitting around this ornate table of like obsidian with kind of trimmed with brass and other metals that you would think would melt in the presence of this intense heat, are the leaders. There's the council of the forgers. I think the council of unbroken bonds. Then there's also a representative from the artisans guild. I think there's
all the different guilds have a head there. There's like, the textiles and the painters and the sculptors and all of that.
What's the bureaucracy for the forgers like? Do they like would it be like big ornate titles like the minister of shapes or something like that? Can we have a minister of shapes here?
Well, now that you said it, then yes, it needs to be that.
Okay, great. Because
Geometrics.
arch geometrics. I like that. Because the forgers are all about art and beauty, and they kind of rebelled against what they were forced to do, which was make weapons of war. For those who are joining us or who haven't seen since the beginning, the forgers made weapons of war for the empire that used to rule Haven before they were overthrown. Since then, they have spent the ensuing years just like going crazy with art and creativity and personal expression and freedom, but not in like a libertarian way, more in like a gap year of college way.
Yeah.
So imagine like an artist's commune that became sort of a power unto themselves, and that's basically what you have here. I can see from Kevin's expression, he just imagined that.
The Burning Man was permanent.
That's not, yeah.
God help us.
What is the current tempered monarch? We haven't seen them yet, right?
We saw them in a super zoomed out shot once where I didn't add any detail, and they called up the lava of the volcano to make a cool hammer, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So, boy, what do they look like? I should have thought of this sometime before now. I think
they're. Oh, go ahead.
they've got a big, cool, like mask / crown thing going on. So I think they've got like a like very like face covering mask that has like the eyes are like sort of like horizontal slits, but they're banded around with like different metals and gold that are like spiraling out in different geometric patterns on the black obsidian. And then they have sort of like almost like an antlery shape coming out in a sort of crown antlers way. And then each of the points of the antlers is like a different material. So they've got like, you know, one of them is like a gleaming bronze, and one of them is probably there's a broken off one that used to be marble, and then there's like one is lapis lazuli and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think they use they them pronouns. I think they undergoing the process to become the tempered monarch kind of takes you out of most mortal considerations. It's not exactly on the same degree as an arbiter, but it's kind of in that direction. They aren't a forger anymore. They aren't a regular person. They are the tempered monarch. Well, you have assembled us all here. You have an interesting way of making an entrance and a point. They said when we appointed you to our court that your voice was an enthusiastic one that would represent us well to the rest of Haven.
Yes, Monarch, and I hope that I have served well in that regard.
We had hoped rather that you would befriend the people of Havens, less so the monster seems too harsh a word.
I think one could call that accurate as well. No, monster does not necessarily mean enemy.
What then brings you here?
Well, oh, you might not know this actually. That's funny. So, we broke one of the marble pillars of the Empire earlier. If you've noticed anything about the land healing and feeling better, that was us. That was me and Rainbow. So that's cool. But we ran into some trouble, and I think I go through and explain the whole story of the big climactic battle against the giant, what's it called? The
Megalodon?
Megalodon, thank you. Yeah. The void be-tentacled Megalodon.
This is a lot of information to take in all at once. Our Minister of Shapes, she says, turning to look at you, Simon. What make you of this?
I worry that your time at sea has addled your mind, Jimali.
No, come on, listen. You don't listen to me. And then she like focuses, and then her eyes light up, being possessed by the spirit of her ancestor who is within her, who corroborates
God.
her claims,
Forgot about
being
that.
someone who is a little more trustworthy.
Such uncouth behavior at the court. This is not becoming of your aesthetics of your decisions, I find concerning. But if it is truly a threat to the people of this city, and indeed all of Haven. Perhaps it is necessary to call upon our forbidden arts once more.
Let us hear then from the Minister of Beauty and Destruction, she says, turning to look at you, Rue. Or they say, turning to look at you, Rue.
I'm gonna need that one more time. Sorry.
Let us hear then from the Minister of Beauty and Destruction.
Honestly, I think Chimali is doing a wonderful job of spreading our story and our people's values to everyone else. I don't know. They found this beautiful creature from the sea and brought it up to share with everyone. I can't think of anything more akin to the Forges than that.
That is true, and yet you want us to outfit such a creature for destruction.
Yes.
We have moved far from there. Even our Lord of Walls, they say, turning to look at you, Kevin, has ceased reinforcing the walls for siege warfare. Is that not so?
And I think the Lord of Walls, sort of masculine presenting person who communicates in sign language, in Haven sign language.
Ooh.
I have not practiced in. I haven't practiced American Sign Language, and they don't speak American Sign Language or sign, but they will sign to the rest of the group that they feel that the are better suited elsewhere, and the movements, having the reclamation of Skyfire Sister seems that the tide of these conflicts may be turning. So the priority on the walls is not as strong as it previously might have been.
So, for us to turn once more to warfare, Chimali, to take up the very bond we forged amongst ourselves, to not return once more to what the Empire forced us to do. You must understand, we have to know why. You have seen this, and for the time being, we are willing to believe what you say is true, but why? Why should we do this?
I think this is what the land wants. I think that this great one who has slept beneath the waves is here now, has awoken now, in order to help us to bring peace to the land and end this time of troubles once and for all. I have had visions of its past and some of its future, and I think that we should not go to war again, but we can serve as armorers, as outfitters for this great beast who can be an avatar of the land itself, who can go forth and make its will known with a wisdom greater than that of humans.
I just don't know if I can forge another sword again.
Oh.
How is war the answer here? How is it the answer here, Chimali?
I think that there is no other choice. We're a coastal city, and the ocean is coming for us. If we don't make war, then we will be destroyed.
And I think this is a fine common ground.
Yeah.
I think this is where we come to that.
All right.
So, when you want to get someone to do something, you need to let's pull up the actual move here. for find common ground. When you ask someone to do something for you, roll plus cunning. On a hit, they'll do it if you meet their terms. So go ahead and roll plus cunning real quick.
Alrighty. I've got +1.
And advantage
Oh, good.
because of the festival.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah. Hey, I did that for myself. Good for me.
High five past Alex.
That advantage mattered a lot because I started out with a 3 and a 4, and now I have a 6 and a 4.
Ooh,
Ah, excellent.
yeah.
So with 10, I pick one. They'll only do that. I don't think it helps if their faction gets influence on your house, since they are your house and you can't have influence on yourselves. But I do think they want to add a specific thing to this task, and
Right.
so I do not think I can forge another sword, but I could see my way to making a shield.
Yes, I think that will be sufficient. Our friend is a mighty warrior in their own right, and I think it's just to keep them safe.
They stand up and approach you, and it like they sort of like they don't move. They stand up, and then all of a sudden they are next to you, Chamali. Like I imagine you're at the other end of this table.
Uh-huh.
And by the time they've finished standing up, they are next to you, and they place a hand like right over yours. It is firm, but there is a tenderness there and regret in their eyes. We must ask you to do this. You must lead the charge on this project.
Yes, I can do it. I've been drafting some schematics on the trip, and she pulls out like from her pouch some like big, drafted out architectural drawings, since that's relevant to her specialty.
There's a sadness in the monarch's eyes. They darken just a little, but they kind of spread out the plans, and the council goes from debating like what course of action they should take to debating what sort of aesthetics there should be. And back in the storytelling festival, people begin telling us stories about the giant creatures they've encountered, and oh no, I once saw a creature as big as as big as 2 mountains. 2 mountains? That's nothing. I saw the turtle that is underneath all of Haven, and everyone says that's just myth, so on and so forth. But even in the midst of this festival, the forgers are once more picking up old tools that have been forgotten, but not abandoned. Cool. I'll open it back up to you all. What do you want to do? What do you want to see? If there's faction stuff, we can do that. If there's like a zoomed in moment you want to see, we can do that as well.
Yeah, just for the sake of saying out the mechanics.
Oh yes,
the specific thing we're doing with that one.
Yeah, we should do that. Thank you, Alex.
Is a craftwork beyond perfection. Let me go look that up.
Yes, so the craft work, that's the thing where your like entire house kind of devotes their resources, or whatever resources you specify, to creating a single thing. And this represents like the entire like effort of everyone in your faction, from the biggest to the smallest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that move is on 67.
Yeah, I've got it. So we are going to be committing all of our surpluses to this. Our dyes and pigments, our trade, and our raw materials. I guess it doesn't make sense to commit our crops to it. So we'll say we're using all of those to get this armor made.
Excellent. This is Craftwork Surpassing Perfection, which sounds like an exalted charm, but it is in fact a free from the yoke move.
It really does.
So, what surpluses were you committing again?
I was committing dyes and pigments, raw materials, and trade. I think the trade is just going to be like, they're calling in all of their people who are out, running merchant convoys and stuff to bring their wares back and put them into this.
All right, so go ahead and roll plus 3 for now.
Okay. I got a 7.
All right, so
I'll take it.
first things first, pick 3 legendary powers that are instilled within the completed item. You have the owner of the item will be immune to the influence of spirits and mystical rituals. The owner of the item will be able to communicate wordlessly with their underlings. The owner of the item will become ageless and untiring. The owner of the item will be able to leap a river in one bound and sprint as fast as lightning. Or the owner of the item will become supernaturally beautiful and graceful.
Cool. How many am I picking?
3.
All right. I'm going to say, yeah, they're straight up an avatar of the land now. They're ageless and untiring. They can leap a river in one bound, as it were, even though they're a plesiosaur.
I mean, they already could do that, yes. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's hard to pick between immune to the influence of spirits and supernaturally beautiful and graceful. But it's the Forgers, so I have to pick supernaturally beautiful and graceful.
That
Even if
makes
that
sense.
might be of less use in the upcoming duel.
Yeah. I think that's great.
In the
But
I
go
can't
ahead.
imagine a whole scene in classic mech movies, where
Mhm.
just, thousands of workers are bringing all of these dyes and pigments together and cracking out their tools and passing a montage of people passing these giant marbled armor plates
Mhm.
to one another and sizing them and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. There's I think we see Chamali kind of spreading out the plans over a drafting table and scribbling on them, and that image becomes the scene of some workers decorating but painting very purposeful decorations onto the armor to help ward away the influence of time and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of gantries and makeshift cranes are assembled to help put all of this together. I think we get a glimpse of the crew of misfit artists that have been assembled to help put this together. There's the weird punk artist who is a genius but very uncouth and is covered in tattoos and has one side of their the half shaved on the side with the spiky hair. There's the buttoned up scholarly type who is much too tightly wound to do any good. And those two become unlikely friends over the course of the montage. There's of course there's the goth, because there's always a goth. There's the one that means well and just keeps tripping over themselves. And what does this armor look like, Alex?
Yeah, I think it's real good. It's made out of lots of different materials again. So I think there's even a bunch of different gemstones and polished things work into it. It's got parts of it that have malachite in it for some reason, even though that becomes poisonous in water. It's got all sorts of different quartzes and things. It's got bands of metal, and there's it's almost like a huge puzzle made out of all these different things put together. And it's, you know, you'd think that it would just be like terrible and clashing, but somehow there's like this sense of aesthetics where you can feel your eye being drawn like along the lines and then through the different materials, and then, you know, it all also matches up with Rainbow's rainbow hide as well, with like beautiful contrasts to whatever color happens to be behind it.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And now to be the bearer of bad news, there's a cost.
Yeah.
You rolled a 7 and 9, so pick one curse. Your options are: the owner will hear constant whispers, sowing doubt. The owner will become incredibly frail, taking all flesh wounds as heavy wounds. The owner will feel a compulsion to reject any possession that is not incredibly beautiful, and if lost, the item will return in the hands of an enemy or rival.
All right, I think the most obvious choice is they will be compelled to reject any possession that isn't beautiful, which is a little bit different when you're a plesiosaur than a human. You don't need possessions as much, but I mean, they're going to be alive forever now, so I guess they'll have plenty of options for times to reject things in the future.
Yeah. Oh, I imagine we'll see that curse next episode.
Cool.
So
I may or may not have made a fucking dragon, as Kevin says. Does this thing have wings now?
You got a Brandofold.
Okay,
Brandofold.
This also includes wings now because of Kevin. Yes, there's a huge folded set of beautiful, articulated, steampunk-ass gear-powered wings on the sides. It can sort of fit its like flipperies like into the wings, and then it can like flap them.
Kevin, speaking of dragons and brands, and Kevin, what are the Riverfolk up to right now?
The Riverfolk, they have no time for holidays. They have no time for rest. They, as was said before, in seasons and ages past, war is here. There's a fight to be fought. So they're going to try and reclaim some of this land, some of this haven. They're trying to reclaim some of it.
Love that. I have a question for you. How deeply is that true? Like, that is absolutely, I believe, what the captains of the Riverfolk believe and will do. But amongst the crews, amongst the officers, not the officers, the peons and the grunts and the sailors, what do they think?
I don't think it's even like all the captains. I think it's just Dao, formerly known as Ironcloud, over the Stormy Mountain. Dao, she is like in mourning, in full grief, and like kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna bury myself in like this objective before me. And so, but otherwise, like there is holidays. Like all the sailors are like kind of like, okay, yeah, we understand that, but like when Dao's not looking, we'll like shit. And generally, I think it's a lot of memorializing of the past and like those that have fallen and died, just both in and out of battle, and spending time with those with each other, like kind of touching on things like the Woven have done, and touching on things that the Forgers have done, like telling stories about each other and just spending a lot of time with each other, making food and enjoying food, and a lot of remembering, I think, is.
What does the hold of a Riverfolk ship look like? Because we know what the outsides look like, and we know what they look like when they're armed for bear, and what they sound like. But what does it look like inside?
I think the hold,
or the galley. Yeah,
the galley. The galley, it's all built around like a big hearth, and like where the kitchen is, it's built around it. The kitchen isn't like separated from it. It's like it's in the center, and like people kind of flock to it and come to and fro and things like that. So like you get this emission of warmth and like these smells, and like people will kind of gather around it, so to speak. And there's long tables with benches and things like that. And I think there's a lot of lanterns that have like these very delicate, like sort of silks draped over them, so we get those we get a lot of different colors, sort of around as these lanterns sway, the colors are kind of meld. A lot of pinks, a lot of greens, and a lot of turquoise.
Ooh. So, in the midst of all of this, I think the conversation, the remembrance comes around to one of the more recent losses, to the warrior, the captain, the traveler, Win. And I think there is a move which we're going to do now. When you mark off your dead box, which Win did both for dying and also for marking all 4 of the upgrades, say what the travelers who know you will tell of your life and death, going clockwise around the table, or in this case, the Zoom call. Let's each player adds or alters one element of the tale until the complete legend is told. So I like that. This is one of my favorite death moves. Let's why don't you start us off, Ironcloud? Because I think like the celebration is going, and someone mentions Captain Win as Ironcloud comes down into the galley to see what's going on. Like, I'm sure she knows what's up.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a hush that falls, and the crew in the galley stop, and they turn and look at you, Ironcloud. Sorry, Captain, we were just and the words just kind of die in his throat.
Yeah. Ironcloud is like, you want to know what Win was like? Win was a man of focus to such a point that he would abandon his children and his spouse only for glory and for war and for all, so to speak. They were ruled by their fear. They were a coward in such a way that they saw problems behind every shadow in every corner, and instead of confronting them like an adult, they just went head first at them. All the easy problems, all the problems you can kill, all the problems you can fight, but none of the ones you can talk through. And I think sort of the whole summary is that while Win, Dao's not going to refute that Win was a great warrior and a great captain, all these things, but he, as an individual, he was not a good person. And they will not refute all the bad things that they've done, but also all that it was for a reason and things like that.
Rue, what do you have to add to the life of Win? And I think it's one of those things where as Ironcloud talks, there's multiple images of Haven. There's the Riverfolk ship sailing on the river, moving swiftly to finish a fight. There's the ashes gathered in their halls. There's the forgers working on the armor for this Leviathan. There's the Woven, deep underground, listening and tuning, and in the Arbiter's hutch, even. So this story can come from any character. It can come from one of the crew. It can come from someone that knew Win. We don't have to stay localized, is what I'm getting at. So what do you have to add to the tale?
In that case, I'll say that it's doing a flashback to Veep.
Oh. Good.
I'm trying to decide where it would be. Whether it would be like when she's going towards the mech or just ruminating in her room or something. I think it's when she's at the ashes and it like pans to the axe when she had it, and then it pans over to her writing in a journal, just thinking on when. So these are all, there's like a voiceover, but these are all just written things that she's writing down.
Yeah.
She's like, when you... She like writes when, crosses it out, writes you, crosses it out, writes like a couple different things like to address, and then she like draws a picture of an axe and a spear, and then like puts a little heart, and then kid starts writing. I just read the chat. When you piece of shit. She writes that and like it's super crossed out. It's like draws like a circle around it. I don't know what you were to me. Your presence has been there for so long. At times, you were a mentor. When I was a child, you were just this great figure, this immense person on your ship that was teaching me things that I felt lucky to be in the presence of. And then this fight with the Woven, it was the opposite. You were so small and afraid. I don't know. There are times where, as I became more of a leader, it's like we swapped. Sometimes, I guess I can say this because you're not here anymore to refute it. I felt like I was your mentor. The axe like falls over in the background. And she's like, you know it's true. You know I was your mentor sometimes. I gave you advice and you took it. I guess you were always a presence in my life. I don't know if other people that you knew were that lucky, which is unfortunate. Actually, I don't know if Veep would know Dao or have ever met her. I'll say that she like possibly knew her if she was on the ship when she was a kid. She was like, oh, that's their kid that they don't ever talk to. That's weird.
Probably talk to you more than you talk to Dao.
Yeah. So I feel like she might have been like, that's kind of cool that that's your kid, but also kind of weird that like you never like you never talked to them. God, this is difficult. I feel like I always know what to say, but I guess it's good I didn't have to give some kind of eulogy or something, because I don't know if I would have anything clever or impactful to say. I wish we'd had more time. I feel like you wish you had more time too. And she just like she just puts her pen down.
On cold nights, Captain Dumont's shoulder burns. The scar left from Wynn's axe is a constant reminder, an irritant that he feels constantly. Every time the weather changes, every time the air pressure goes off, as his underlings say, whenever he's feeling angry or frustrated, it is the influence of Wynn. Tonight, though, even though his old wound aches, I think even Captain Dumond is feeling generous and talks about how Captain Wynn was one of the most wily opponents they fought. That bastard once ambushed 3 platoons while we were trying to seize the riverbed from them. I didn't know it, but that devil only had 50 soldiers. 50. And yet each of them fought for 5 or 10. I suppose if things had been different, we would both be dead now. But in the end, it looks like I won. Simon.
I think either on that flotilla or somewhere nearby, or perhaps somewhere else entirely, there's a woven military encampment who are celebrating and drinking in light of all of this past conflict and putting it aside. And they're talking and they're sharing war stories, as you do. And one of the soldiers, sort of an older, haggard warrior, stands up, the flagon of mezcal, 3 sheets to the wind. Bravery!
None of you know anything about that. You fought well. You fought hard. You bled. Your scars all over your body. You think that's courage? I was there. I was there when I watched the one they called Nguyen fighting down a terrible beast, a machine from a dead age. We died for him. We died for them. You know that? Kortemok, greatest of us, put his life on the line. He was crushed by that beast because he knew Nguyen was meant for greater things. He'd done his job, a soldier's job. He'd fought well. He had to die to let someone else live, someone better. We should all be like them. That was the day we cemented the lasting bond between the river folk and the woven. The strongest thread in the tapestry. You want courage? We should all be like Nguyen, the demon of burning rivers.
That's so good.
Now, which of you bastards will drink to that?
A rousing cheer goes out. Meanwhile, Alex.
Yeah, so I think that in a house over on the edge of Skyfire City, not yet hearing the news that's going on there, there is maybe a little brother who's babysitting his little sister. He's about 5, and no, he's about 8. She's about 5, and she's asking for cool stories on the storytelling night. And he says, I heard about this amazing riverfolk warrior called Wynn, and they called him that because that's what he did all the time. He won every fight that he was in, and he went and he had a flying ship that was the size of 10 ships. And when it flew, meteors fell out of the sky onto his enemies, and they all burned until they were skeletons. And then he disappeared like a ghost. He could walk into a doorway, and then when he would come out of 100 doorways, and there was 100 winds, and they ambushed all their enemies, and they fought all of them, and nobody could beat him. And then in the end, they went up in the sky, and then he turned into stars, and then that's why there's stars. They're all winds.
Oh my god.
Nguyen, you are the last of you. It is a disconcerting thing to feel yourself die, to be yourself and to die, but you have those memories and that collected knowledge all come together. You have had a day of days. You have had a month of months where each win that came out of that gate accomplished something, and the last one I think knows that they need to their time in Haven is at an end, and they must go, whether that's across the mountain or through a gate or wherever something is calling them away, and their roots are not here anymore. What is one last gift that you leave behind?
Oh fuck. Shit, what would it be?
Yeah, you already gave your axe away, so you gotta come up with something better than that.
I know. You know what Win is gonna do? Win.
Yeah.
Win to spite his people and those that came before him that they might not have disagreed with. They build a small dinghy. They're a shit sailor, but they do it. They sail out, and it looks like this is we're in the show. It would be them sailing out into the horizon and nothingness, but we see them. They go and they sail up to a small flotilla that's visited only once a month with resupplies, and I think Win is. This is the flotilla that we mentioned in the last episode, where the old ashes are, and Win is going to go there and sort of break whatever binds, magical or otherwise, that keep them there. And I think Win is going to help facilitate their return to Haven.
Oh, we'll deal with the effects of that next episode. For now, let's leave this moment as the crew in Ironclad's ship. I think Ironclad steps out of the room, returning to her duties, because she's still Ironclad at the end of the day. But I think the last thing you hear is, "No shit, there we were, deep in the jungle, and this crab, this fucking crab," and raucous laughter. But outside, under the stars, it is night, and the river is all too swift. What are you wanting to do?
Now Ironclad, she leads her ship, and she as they're talking about the cloud, I think she does look out into the river down below, and like we get like a little green pulse as Uncle Lin, the crab mech, does follow swimming below.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
And
It swims.
yeah, it does. They are going to try and reclaim some of the archipelago. They want to reclaim. Let's see. They want to reclaim Safe Harbor and this sage temple here.
All right. Well, that sounds like a claim by force to me.
Yes. Let's see.
So go ahead and roll claim by force. So when you claim by force, roll plus grasp.
Yep. And I have advantage on grasp since we were
Ah,
overabundant.
that's
earlier
right.
in the stage. Oh, fuck. Well, that is a 13.
A 13. All right. So, what does it look like as your because so I'll set the stage. If you're you're swarming where Safe Harbor, right?
Yeah.
So Safe Harbor has been converted. It feels familiar to all river folk, I think, because this was the first place that they built. This was the gift that they gave to Haven. This was a place that they, I think, built from the ground up to be for the river folk, you know, but it was also meant to house the various peoples of Haven, the various other houses as well. So it's all the ostentatiousness of the river folk instead of the usual like scrap heap design, you know. But now it's been worked on these past months. It has been turned from a safe harbor to a shipyard. And here, even now, the ships of the river folk are being refitted for war as the Hua and their allies. But mostly here, it's the Hua prepare and are one of the major stopping points for the invasion of Haven.
Yeah, and I think instead of doing the traditional raid, like
Mhm.
if boats like to ride up on the beach and suddenly flood out, I think the boats like come around and beach further up the coast, and the raiders will disembark and go on foot and go through like these dense jungles of the archipelago, and we see like in the dark like very blue hue lit shots, like them crawling through the brush and things like that. Very reminiscent of the way the Woven do, like as we saw previously in when they were trying to reclaim the temple in the kelp forest and such. But we do see like this faint green glow and sort of the silhouette of Dao riding on the shoulder of the crab mech, carrying a long spear, a long pike-like spear, and what they're gonna do, since they have rolled a 13.
Yes, so you get to pick. You only have to pick one. It's not completely yours yet. The forces you use must stay here until the start of the next season. There's a cost to your victory. You get a need of my choice, or you cause suffering in chaos or raise turmoil.
What is our current turmoil, if I may ask?
It is 7.
And what is our other the contrasting resource?
What is control? Is it 5?
Controls at 5. I think what it will be, there will be a cost to our victory. Our house gains a need.
All right. So go ahead and tell me what this looks like, and I'll tell you the need.
Yeah, I think also because we are the Riverfolk and we are specialists in raiding and plundering, we have the special move when you seize a force by a coastal settlement, pick one, and we're able to disarm their defenses before striking.
Ooh, I like that.
Because we sneak in there, we're able to, we lift the gates without them noticing. We disable all of their ballistae and cannons and things. We disable all the alarms and like we go and lock them in their barracks.
I think there's a moment where you see the like river folk advance team, the strike team, you know, moving through the shadows as like a couple of guards standing by the gate, like maybe one almost spots a ship as the shadows like rise up from behind with knives at their throats, and it is quick bloody work. But the defenses of this town of this settlement are disarmed. well in advance. What does it look like as you attack?
I think what it looks like when we attack, I think it's mostly contrasting to Wynn's tactics. There's as little. They try to keep the property damage down. They do want to recover the settlement. To be fair. And so it's very much like going very almost like more tactically than they would otherwise. Like they go street by street, they stay together in groups, they sort of make sure with whistles and calls to make sure that nobody advances too far out. And they're starting to push the Hua out from inland out to the water, waiting to disembark. Like they have a couple ships waiting to make sure that any ships that try to escape are sort of make sure they don't get away. They are able to take to water.
And I think I really like the image of them moving in like groups of 3 with like, or 3 to 5 with like spears and bows and like the like wide wide like reeds or leaves as camouflage on their shoulders, but kind of giving way to like cloaks and those broad-brimmed hats and lots of whirling spear fighting in the streets. It's incredibly cool, and I wish we had the budget to show it. Give us an animated special, and you too can see what we're imagining. But what you find is that this attack has kind of exposed how much the Hua have taken from you, and I think the people feel like they have been preparing for this, and when they came, it was sudden and off guard. And what you gain is the need for justice.
Yeah, probably some of their the leader of the force here, like the commander of the forces here, probably they got away and like they weren't able to be brought to justice for the people that were here under their occupation. Like they crave like that justice, and like we aren't able to deliver because we don't have like the figurehead to and exact it upon or something.
Well, and like being back in Safe Harbor and seeing like how much it has changed over so little of a time, and realizing what the rest of the archipelago must be like and what the Hua are doing, and they're hitting Riverfolk first because that's kind of what they know and where they came up. So speaking of justice, though, since it's just us 5, we're going to take a short break. As the Kill Bill sirens go off, we're gonna get some cool action shots of Riverfolk retaking their safe harbor, of the Leviathan armor getting completed, of the rest of Haven doing things, and we are going to let our filthy biological needs take over for a moment. So move your body, stretch. Get some water or a snack. And if you have something that you've been drinking that isn't water, definitely go get some water. Mountain Dew Baja Blast is gamer fuel, and this is serious gaming, but it isn't technically water anymore. Once they add the Baja, it ceases to be water. Legally, the FDA can't say that it is. So please don't dehydrate, hydrate instead. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Please come back, I beg you, after that joke. Prove to the rest of the cast here that was a very good joke by coming back. And stick around. We're going to as well help support the channel. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the other side. Anyway, that's the Minions holiday special. So it's
Starring Pete
like,
Davidson. Yeah.
It's pretty great. Like, they get away with a lot more than you'd think. Kind of like, oh, why, hello there. We're back. Welcome. Once again, I didn't see you there. You got to start announcing yourself when you come back in. I think we still got the fire going and a cup of hot cocoa for you. So let's let's get back to round 2 of
Tell us the
the
story, Ebenezer.
Haven Holiday Spectacular. Yes, Vinitia is always this excited about minions. That is, yeah, Vinitia is here and has agreed to keep the bit going by just like doing this every 20 seconds. So, please just bear that in mind and everyone be impressed by his performance. In the meantime, let's get back to Haven, where I want to check in and see what the Ashes of Prithvi are up to.
Let me get this
Now that, yeah,
out of
at the
my mouth.
exact moment that you put something in your mouth, Rue, I'm so terribly sorry.
No, that's my fault. I should have remembered that it was gonna get to me. I was like, I'm gonna eat this Jolly Rancher that's gonna take me like 20 minutes to slowly get rid of.
Just gotta crunch it.
Oh, that's the thing is I would do that, but I won't subject y'all
Having
to that.
plans or eating a Jolly Rancher?
that would be appropriate. They would be eating Jolly Ranchers.
It's true. What is Jahi up to?
So Jahi is he's actually got since they have the ashes, or what are supposed to be all of Veeb's ashes, he's been setting up all the like funeral rites for that. So he's got that going on, but he also has a couple of lore masters
Ooh.
like going through the process of separating out the ash from what he assumes is something else that is like filled up the space that so they have like a big sieve that they're using, like a big rectangular sieve, and they look like they're just kind of pouring like the ashes, like portions of it through it, but then they're using like ritual magic to smack it against the floor, and like it separates out almost like electromagnetically, like the ashes versus just whatever other stuff is in there, that they're like, we know that these are not all of Veeb's ashes.
Yeah.
There's some
So
other stuff he threw in here for some reason.
what are some of the things that the ashes like do when someone has died? Because again, like that's one of the things I really like about this is we have so many different perspectives about death. It isn't some taboo thing that no one kind of acknowledges.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it like for them? What is their opinion? What's their like?
Yeah, I feel like the ashes, they speak pretty openly about death, and I think they don't necessarily believe in like rebirth in the same sense as like in Hinduism, where it's like the same person coming back over and over, but just kind of like that spirit still reawakens and over, and like when they burn the body and spread the ashes, it allows the spirit to escape and kind of choose a path for itself. And so they're just like, once someone is gone, it's up to them what they do with that thing. Like, that's not for us to direct or siphon in any direction, which is why the spirits coming back and people bonding with them, they've been a little like, what are you doing? So they keep trying to do like very large rituals where they're like, maybe this will help release these things, which I don't think has been to everyone else's taste. They're like,
exactly.
They chose to be here. Stop messing with it. Yeah.
What are some of the things that they say? Like, what is it?
Ooh.
And is it like spoken words? Is there music? What's the ritual like? the
Uh,
ritual part of the ritual magic?
Ooh, the actual funeral rites, I think, extend over several days. You know,
Ooh.
pull from my actual life and say like there are several days of like ceremonies and different kind of things that you have to go through. They'll have like rites to prepare the body. Obviously at this they didn't really have that opportunity, but they would still symbolically do that, and then kind of preparing the ashes, because the ashes return them back into the land. So this was never touched upon before this, but the ashes that they use for their magic is the ashes of their people, which is a thing they don't really talk about to other people. They have found that it makes people uncomfortable to be like, oh yeah, these are just our ancestors that we just kept the ashes of their bodies and then we use them in our magic. People are like, oh,
I feel like the Fortress might be kind of chill with that, surprisingly.
yeah, I could see them being like into that, or more like okay with that. But I feel like definitely this is something, especially with the woven, I feel like that they would be like, probably shouldn't.
Maybe
Tell-
not. Yeah.
It's like, look, already they don't even cremate. It's weird. They just do things different. We'll just do a don't tell policy with them. We won't say anything. So they use that both in their like personal ritual magic, but also if they're not needed for that purpose, they'll just return it to their land that's around them. So they'll use it usually in the land that their crops grow from. They make like a perimeter around, and anytime they extend it, they extend that perimeter, and it infuses back into the land, and it's why they are constantly in surplus of crops. It helps everything grow.
Oh, that's very cool.
But in a non-spooky way.
In a non-spooky way.
In a nice way.
Who turns out for Vib's funeral? What? Because like she's not just another Ash, another person, or even someone high up. She's like, she was like a state official basically, or at least she was for a while.
Yeah.
She was an ex-president technically.
Yeah. And even when she left the council, which she was just kind of like, yeah, this probably my time is up now. I feel like she left and people were probably reluctant to have her leave. They saw other people that could replace her, but they were like, couldn't she just keep doing this? And she's like, no, it's my time is up. You guys can do it on your own. She was the ex-ninja president. She was the last Hokage. I think pretty much everyone in the village turns up, even people that didn't particularly agree with her thoughts were still there just because they knew she was so influential over people. And because of the turnout, they end up doing like, normally there's just one place that has like a big large bonfire and one like lore master who is taking care of everything, but because of the turnout they end up just doing a whole bunch of them. The rest of them are just kind of symbolically doing what the main one is doing because you need the ashes for it, and they're like, well, I'm not gonna separate her ashes out with everyone, that's kind of weird. But you all can symbolically follow along since everyone is here. And yeah, there's like I think their rituals are done in an ancient language that they don't use anymore. Similar to like Sanskrit or something, or Latin, where it's like a dead language, but they do use it for these rituals, and it's like a very long process. And then they set up a little place where there's like a little bowl of water, a little like pile of dirt, and like just kind of an empty spot, and they let the ashes sit in like a pot and flow into one of them. And depending on whether it goes into the water or the earth, that's where they'll spread the ashes
Ooh,
or the air.
that's very cool. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I feel like Veeb would be difficult and the ashes would go through all three.
Yeah, that sounds right. And what is Jahi doing?
He would be overseeing this but not being a part of this. I did have him that he like was going to be a lore master and then swapped courses, but I think he's kind of like, well, I'm a soldier and a council leader now, I can no longer be a part of this lore master stuff, so just kind of like standing at attention, trying to like look important, but throughout this process, since it's such a long process, they're still planning for that invasion. I think he would be both planning for himself to go recover the rest of the ashes and whatever Veeb was looking for, and then diverting the rest of the ashes towards the River Ken to help out.
Oh yeah, 'cause
So-
you can still go get the mech.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to do that right now?
Yeah, we could do a mech getting mission.
All right. Well, let's so let's zoom in real quick. Let me, not for the last time, but for probably the last time this session, let me talk about zoom in. When you focus on the efforts of a particular house's agents, say where you are on the map. That house's player may request the aid of the Arbiter's agent and say what the group is there to do. I will describe details of the environment, ask you questions about it, and we will kind of go on with what you folks are doing. So let's cut over to the map real quick.
Yeah. Oops. Let me pull the map up and bring the plesiosaurs down for a moment. There you go.
Our good friends. So we know that the mech is in here, in the ancient this temple, right?
Yeah.
Which the ashes kind of occupy, but they have the surface of it. But the subterranean like catacombs are very extensive, and there's like a secret empire sort of religious military outpost there.
That seems right.
So go ahead and outfit Jahi and kind of what is he like as he's going into this mission? Because I think we kind of see like Veeb's ashes being difficult and drifting everywhere, and that kind of carries us across the plains to the temple and Jahi.
Yeah. I think he still has, so he wears the Empire's armaments on top of like some ash clothing. And he still has that. So he has kind of like not quite like plate armor, but like a pauldron and like some like armor on his arms and legs. So they're just like pieces that he's put together. I feel like he wouldn't necessarily know how full armor is supposed to go, so he's just kind of taken the pieces that he's like, this part seems like whatever, I'm not gonna just toss that out. And he's like only done some parts more for like the aesthetic rather than for like protection, so only one pauldron is on, but the other one there's like nothing, because he's like, it looks cooler if it's just on the one side and not the other.
He is baby.
He's very baby. He peaked at that resistance, the rebellion, and then after that he's just in his teens. Going through puberty as a council leader.
The worst place to be.
Certainly no Vive who just seemed in control of herself at all times.
Yeah. He was not born an adult like V.
Yeah, and I think he would take along. He wouldn't take along the other council members, partially because he's like they should be either here or at the with the River Ken to help out,
Mhm.
but also partially because he's like, I don't want them to come with me. But he would take along other Ash members if people want to join as Ash babies or non-babies.
Sure.
Speaking of over table, what if one of the other council members came anyway?
Oh, that would be perfectly
like that.
fine because there's no like single person that holds more authority. Even Beeb didn't have more authority, it's just that people listened to her. She tried to like spread it apart, but people kept only listening to her annoyance. Yeah, so if any of the council members wanted to come along, there's nothing he can really do to stop it
Yeah,
except
They
be like
demanded it.
just like okay, that's whatever, I guess.
Very cool. So who all is along for this? And Rue, don't forget to do your gear move.
Ooh, yes. I was forget that.
Hang on, real quick. I'm just using a name generator.
Yeah, what's a good? Can you help us out with some good traditional Ashes names?
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, that would be-
yeah.
They're all like Gujarati names, right?
Yeah. I had like a list and then I never like posted it anywhere. Now I gotta look through my notebook for it.
I thought that's the sort of thing you'd have. You're very thoughtful about that.
I was like, this will be good, and then I promptly forgot about it.
I think I might be a champion for my quick character.
I am going to be a leader.
What's your champion specialty?
That's a good question. You have a narrow field you're an expert in. I think probably like tracking, since we're looking for a person who is lost. Unless would that be your character's role, Rue?
Wait, what was that?
Would you be enough of a specialist tracker that we wouldn't need a specialist tracker?
No, actually,
You're more
that would be
special
good
fighter this
because
time.
we are.
Okay.
I'm a rogue and a bogateer. Yeah. So that would be great because it would be very much like Jahi to break off and be going in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Good.
And to embarrassingly.
I'm gonna make
turn.
a rogue quick character, both
Oh.
in terms of the role as well as expertise. I think I'm like a tomb robber.
Ooh.
Like
Yes.
really into finding secret information. Like, well, there's all this lore that's out there. There's all this information, and nobody's using it. And we have to find it, and I might be the one to find it. And if it happens that I sneak into places that are like really sacred to their people and like kind of mess around there, if I bring back the treasure to us, then it's okay because I did a good thing.
It's true.
Help it.
It's true.
I feel
That
like
is, in fact, the like signature move of a rogue. When you break the law of your house or the arbiter, roll with cunning. On a hit, they have higher priorities than punishing you.
Yeah, exactly.
that's so good. I feel like a lot of Ashes would be kind of fine with that too because they're like, well, we're just, and then you can grab like the bodies and then we can, give them rights and it's a good thing. We're doing a good thing.
Nice.
Whereas I believe I'm making a leader, a council member, They are their focus is on like the religious and spiritual teachings of the ashes, and they're here to make sure that nothing is going to be disturbed inappropriately.
Perfect.
Good. Yes, this is good. Uh,
Good stick in the mud.
Perfect, perfect party. Never seen one better.
Perfect balance. Yeah, I feel like Jahi had. There's just like a moment where there's like the group that he had in mind, where it's like a bunch of the people from his like little rebellion, and like they're all like super strong, and then it like fades away to like who's actually there, and it's just this ragtag group.
oh,
Very good.
so like I think that like this is like who Jahi like knew, you know, or was friends with, you know, maybe like uh like maybe Simon's your character was like the slightly older boy, you know.
For sure.
I can see this like gang of kids, right, in the way that neighborhoods, you know, have like, you know what I mean, not like a gang, but like just that clique of kids, and you're like, oh god, these are all the worst influences for each other.
Oh my
You
god,
know?
that's so perfectly like Bollywood Indian stuff too.
The crew is right. That's exactly it.
A Karoo.
Oh my god. Right, and then for gearing up, I just use my house tags and then whatever my
So,
note is.
You get your house assets, and then also your whatever your gear move lets you do. Which for Bogatir / warrior, you get to add I think you get to add a tag to like a weapon or armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, add a tag to your armor or your outfit when you prepare and provision.
Cool.
And you can also like tap a surplus to give yourself extra tags, or get
Ooh.
a copy of one item for everyone, or something like that.
Oh.
And everyone remind me of your quick characters' names again.
Oh, I should keep track of that.
I am playing real gamer hours. No, I'm playing Rena.
I am Rohit.
Mm-hmm.
And I am is that Sunj?
Yeah.
Sanj, Rahit, and Rina. Perfect. We're all real gamer hours today. So what are you taking with you, Jahi?
They would be taking so their outfit is pretty well adapted. I'm gonna go with those tough and hardy tags that we get anyway. So like kind of meant for several different types of like weather climates. He has like a bunch of layers, so he has like kind of a heavier layer because he's like, well, it is kind of winter, I guess. But then has like less like lighter layers that are more breathable underneath, depending on what they come across. And they are able to kind of manipulate the weather a little bit as well, so it might get colder if they need it.
Well, especially down below.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the group that was taking care of the temple have returned, so Mira has returned as well, because they were in charge of that and probably being diverted back to the River Ken, since they are more comfortable doing the fighting than the talking.
Great. The temple itself is quiet isn't exactly the right word. It's full, deep below in the catacombs. It is full of sounds. There's the howling of wind that kind of comes through from the surface on occasion and screams its way down the corridors. And the Empire definitely designed it to be this way. The corridors are a maze unto themselves, and here and there you can tell, like, oh yes, we're near a river because water kind of snakes its way through various cracks, and over the years has started staining the ground, and there's the scent of old wet earth and occasional bits of mildew as dank water, not memes, has found its home here. You and your motley crew approach. You come to where you think the mech should be. You find the like ancient, not ancient, but you find the sort of ritual room where the Empire's priest engineers worked on these things, but it looks like the mech has gone recently. There is an outline in the dust that is the shape of this, because we had described it as an Imperial mech. Yeah. There is a shape in the dust, an outline of this thing where once it stood.
Nice. So Sunj is the tracker, but also I decided I wanted him to be kind of a himbo. So he is very like shirtless. He's got like beautiful wavy dark hair cascading past his shoulders, and he walks up and he like studies the ground. He touches the ash, he licks it, and he says,
Oh.
"Yes, powered armor is no longer here."
Jay's just like, don't eat that. It's what if that's don't.
It just tastes like regular ashes. I'm not getting anything from this. I shouldn't have eaten that. You're right. As usually, you're right.
He's just like, what if that were like Beep's ashes? That's so weird. Why did he do that? Why would you do this?
Rina's just like face palming. She's like all covered. She's concealed and things like that. She's got like you can only see her eyes under like these robes and dress. She's got especially dark skin under, and she's just like, why
Jay immediately pivots and is like, that was obviously very necessary because it could have been invisible or something. So obviously he had to taste it. It's okay, you're not a lore master, so you don't understand. I don't even know if that is something that would happen, but he's just gonna assume.
Yeah, definitely.
One season training with the lore masters, and you think you're better than all of us.
It was proportionally to my life, it was a pretty long time.
Wait, everyone. It could still be invisible in a different spot. And I start walking around, like, waving my arms at the air.
He's just like,
we only know it's not right there.
I mean,
Dumond said that that you'd come back, and he said you'd be confused, but I didn't think he'd be this accurate. Says a voice as Sunj. You sort of like wave your hands, and they kind of like stop, like they run like right up against the flat of a very long sword.
I found a sword.
Holding it is a very thin Imperial soldier. The sword is they're doing holding a sword as tall as their body, in two hands, and they're kind of clad in very tight, ornate armor. that is as much heraldic as it is functional.
Oh, hey, have you seen one of those big walking armor things around here?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Well, then we can make this easy. You can take it to us without us threatening you, or you can take it to us after we threaten you. But we like to give people choices, so you pick.
I get to pick. How very kind of you. And he smiles, and with the rush of familiar incense, those of you who've spent time around the Sages of Cinder would recognize the sword kind of flashes and becomes ablaze. As one of the holy warriors of of the Order of Embers stands before you. No one in the Ashes might be familiar. I don't know. It depends on how familiar you are with history. But the Sages of Cinder are sort of one take on the imperial religion, which is the Church of Embers. And this is very much like the sort of twisted mirror of one of the warriors, one of the practitioners of the Agni Dharma. They are lithe and swift, and their sword kind of sparks into flames as they move to start fighting you. What do you do?
Cry.
From behind, from the shadows, Rohit has this whole time, like occasionally the camera has cut to Rohit in the shadows, just like picking through things. Rohit is like the kind of 17-year-old that's just all elbows. Everything is spindly. Like he hasn't put on any mass whatsoever. And so he's just like squatting with his long arms, reaching out and like pulling through the little coins and trinkets and stuff. And then he hears the kerfuffle behind, and scoops up. This is like an old temple, right? This is like an old imperial cathedral.
Yeah.
He picks up like a candelabra, like ancient tarnished silver, like is slowly creeping up behind this person and like going, me.
I did not notice.
Run.
Jeff
And then-
looking at the flaming sword like, whoa.
Jahi is also getting ready, but his process is like kind of lengthy to get his spear ready. So he, like, out of the corner of his eye sees Rohit moving and is like, okay, then I have some time to finish doing this. I gotta put the rights on the spear and like gotta activate it.
Rohit, it sounds like you are doing a fiercely assault. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is a chance means to roll might.
Is it fiercely assault or is it disarm?
Oh, it could be disarm. I could hear either of those. Yeah.
I think it's more of a disarm of like, I want to buy time for people to either run or get ready to fight.
Yeah, let's do that. Roll plus bravery.
All right. It is a 10.
A 10.
Ooh.
All right. So you bring that candelabra down a lot harder than you expected. There's like, so it comes down, and in a flash, this Ember warrior has like brought their sword up to parry it, and like, you're kind of both stare, like locked eyes are like glowing brightly and fiercely, and then you hear the sound of like, and stone exactly like that, as the stone crumbles beneath you all, and you kind of, everyone in the room gets sent to the ground, and for the time being, or falls into the floor below, and for the time being, the Ember Warrior is buried beneath rubble.
Oh no. Do we all fall?
Yeah, everyone fell down. You all weren't buried because you got a 10. But that is how the situation is safe for now until it changes significantly.
Cool. I'm gonna say that.
Everyone is okay. So just get your stuff together, and then we gotta go because this person's gonna kill us. And so you do your thing, and maybe you stab him through the rocks or something. I'm going though. I'm gonna climb. I'm gonna look ahead.
That was
the space you fell into,
Oh my gosh.
anything, or is it just like
Yeah, the space you all fell into is I guess I should describe it. The space you've collapsed into is like a mech workshop. This is kind of much more military industrial, middle fantasy military industrial. Kevin, there's no robots, but like you can you can tell there's like a lot of like anvils and forges and stuff here, as well as a lot of the like religious iconography of the Order of Embers. This isn't just where they made mechs, it's where they like made their weapons and kind of had their like militant part of their state religion kind of housed underneath the main temple. So this is, I think you see more of the swords like the warrior was holding in here, as well as like, you know, maybe a gun spear or two.
Yeah, I think what
this is where they would enchant the weapons, and if you just here and like, and Rena's gonna go and try and grab one of those big two-handers.
We're gonna save the history. Let's all gonna die.
yeah, Jahi just like pushes right past, like, not to stop you, but it's just like, I do not want to hear your history lesson. Don't know why you're here. Really annoyed.
Picking up a gun spear and like
style.
looking at it.
I also think Jahi definitely landed on their feet pretty easily. So I don't know if everyone else like fell over, but they're.
I definitely fell over.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right in the tailbone.
So what do you do as you all scramble and have this incredible banter?
Jahi is gonna
equip Sponge with some better weapon, some better gear.
Yeah, I think Jahi would encourage that, but like stand in front of Rena, so it seems like it's his idea. Everyone should gear up. This is
You stay despair. It should ignite.
It's, and this is where see, this is perfect. Rohit opened up the weapon area for us. The area of weapons. They're like searching for armory, but not getting there.
Okay. I try like hefting the big sword up onto my shoulder, but I do it with the sharp side down, and I'm like, ow, what the? Oh, right.
Oh, both sides are sharp in this one.
Oh, it's sharp again.
It's like a big flat, sharp, just like sharp flat blade.
The house of the weapons. The weapons house. It's
gonna be sharp. Jeez, ow.
Sanj, that's why I wear the pauldron. Yeah.
It ruins my tan.
You were climbing up, yes? Up and out?
Trying to get away, yes.
Yeah. I think you successfully managed to leave them behind. As you're wandering through the corridors, I think you are the first one to feel the ground shake, and kind of dust fall down from the corridors.
Oh. Oh no.
Would we be
horrible.
able to hear that?
I think you all a moment later feel it as well, though it's not as heavy as Rohit feels it, because it's like it's on the floor above whatever is shaking the earth, and you hear this like, boom, like something slamming into something else.
As a tracker, does it sound to me like the sound that the power armor we're looking for would make?
Haha, that's a very good question. That sounds like Unearth Forgotten Lore, because you are
Oh,
attempting
good. I have a
to
negative
obtain
one in
landmark
lore.
from the past.
Aha!
Oh no.
So make a roll for me, please.
Here we go. I rolled a 3. Minus
You
1 is
rolled
2.
Oh no.
Okay. Then
Call for aid.
Mhm.
you can call for aid. If you may say what a nearby character can do to boost your efforts, and the group agrees that the helper can help with this listening to to a sound and figuring out what it is roll.
I think it's kind of more funny if I fail.
Okay.
I
It's true to the character.
I think it is. It does sound exactly like that, but it also could be the sound of rubble exploding as as the Ember Warrior kind of bursts up from the rubble,
Oh.
and in a flash moves to strike Rena.
Oh no.
I die.
That's an
Before
option.
that
Yeah,
happens,
looks like you die.
Yes.
Jahi will try to get in there. I have Sorn's sword for duels. I don't know if
Yes.
that's more useful or less useful than just
Want-
doing a
if you
regular
want to-
duel.
If you want to duel with the Ember Warrior, like that's super cool, and we can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Because I like this. I'd say these two foes are of matched strength. You are a mighty warrior. I think this is maybe. How does Jahi feel then? As like I think that blade is coming down, and like at the very last minute you stop it. What does that look like?
It's him like looking fairly like he's just barely getting his surroundings together for a moment, so it looks like he's absolutely gonna miss it. Like I feel like Reno would be like, wow, really gonna just let me die, huh?
Yes.
Which he is for once not doing on purpose. It's just that he is trying to get himself together. But at the last moment he strikes his spear up and it catches the sword as it's coming down. I have the weird tag on it, so
Very
it's,
cool.
it's gonna be infused with the ancestors' ashes to help.
I like that. So when you begin a duel with someone else, Sworn Sword, use these statements instead of the standard 3. So for each of these, you gain 1 hold. I am fighting to protect someone else. I am fighting to hold true to a sworn oath. I am fighting to demonstrate my skill.
Yeah. So technically the first one makes a lot of sense, but I
Yep, that's
actually
absolutely true.
actually think it's I am fighting to hold true to a sworn oath that he would have kept for Veep, that he does not let people who are under his charge die.
And
Oh, you can answer affirmative to multiple, and then the more you answer to, the more hold.
Oh.
yeah, so if
I
all of those are
see.
true, then you
Gotcha.
get 3 hold,
Oh, okay.
which you can then spend. You have your own special way to spend it, but we'll go over that. You can spend 1 hold to turn an incoming heavy wound into a flesh wound, or draw a new weapon as well. And then
Ooh.
that's in addition to the normal hold options. Is Jahi fighting to demonstrate his skill?
Well, maybe since this is a duel, instead of us all beating up on this guy, I like start walking up with my sword too, and then you like wave me back. Or what do you
Yeah.
do when I do that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think Jahi would. I feel like Jahi is friends with Sanj and Rohit for sure,
Yeah.
and knows them. It is professional acquaintances with Rina.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not wrong. So he's like, Sanj, let me handle this, and you can be my second if I die.
Got it. And I plant the sword in the ground.
Reno, what do you do before we jump into this duel? And let's Rena and Rohit real quick.
fuck. Rena. Hang on. What the hell? Characters.
Yeah.
Rena would like to. I don't. How do we help with duels? Fuck.
You can, I guess, help with them, but there's also this power armor sound happening above you and at the end of a catacomb that Rohit is approaching.
Oh, you could not stand here. Is what you're saying. I'm standing here, for the record.
I mean, that makes sense.
You know what? No, it does make more sense to stay here with Rena and Sunj instead of running towards the big mysterious sounds of crashing.
I think we get, if it's all right with you, Simon, if that's the sort of thing Rohit would approach, I think we get like a shot of Rohit just kind of like walking to where this like rhythmic pounding is happening, and like we just kind of see his eyes go wide and like an over the shoulder look at like the mech fully in motion banging on the wall, and let's begin this duel. So
Duel time. Duel time.
I think the audience, you normally use those three. I don't think the audience of this duel favors the Ember Warrior. I do think they're better equipped since they have a like that real ornate armor and a magic sword and are like here for that. I don't think they're avenging a grudge. So we'll give them one hold. As you duel, you and your opponents take it in turns to describe your actions and pick a statement from the list below. Keep taking turns until the duel is over. So go ahead, and the rules for the duel are on page 92, if you are ready, Jahi.
Yeah.
All right. So
And they're the same on the little handouts as well, right?
yes, they are the same on the handout as well, if you have that.
Yeah. And I think for Jahi, all three of these would be correct because
Well, you use your special sworn sword ones, which we
Yeah.
already established were correct. So you've got 3 hold,
Can't get up
which
to
in
six.
addition to the options that let you spend, that you can take if you spend 1 hold, you can also spend a hold to downgrade an incoming wound,
okay.
or to draw another weapon.
Cool. Let's see. I think I strike at your armaments. Yield or I knock away a weapon or a piece of your armor.
Okay. What does your attack look like?
Jahi would be kind of pacing around them, like almost stalking, like not like a, well, yeah, kind of like a predatory animal a little bit. Like he lets the spear kind of drag on the floor behind him as he walks around, so that like I don't think it's hard enough that it sparks or anything, but it just kind of makes like an annoying sound as it goes around. And just looks very casual until he spots a point that looks like a weak spot and then just strikes just extremely fast. This is something he trains for a lot, so he's super fast.
The Ember Warrior does not yield, so what do you knock away?
Ooh. I think he breaks or knocks away a part of a leg armor. Something that's a little within reach.
I think you exchange a couple of blows, and one of his very ornate greaves kind of skitters to the ground. He smirks and quickly moves with the sword, swinging upward. But even that is just a feint, and the real move isn't a swing with the sword. That's just an excuse for him to move his body, and he slams into you with his shoulder. I feint, and you falter. Yield or look foolish in front of our audience.
Oh. Yeah, Jahi would not yield. Actually, he responds to the knocking away at first, and it's just another one for my collection. And then just kind of braces himself for the hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, look foolish in front of the audience. I feel like it either slams him against the wall or just completely knocks him off his feet in a really careless way. It's obvious that he was kind of underestimating what was about to come.
I kind of reach forward oh, but then I'm no, you're cool. I go back to holding the sword.
Yeah, to avoid Sun, she has to do something really weird, and it just makes him look super lame.
Yeah, I think it is. It's one of those fighting can be just ugly, and it's that desperate scrabbling kind of a thing for sure.
Yeah, especially because he got a cool line in, and then he's just completely knocked over.
All right, go for it.
Let's see. I get my weapon inside your guard. Yield or take a flesh wound.
So go ahead and describe your flesh wound.
Since he got that leg armor out, he's gonna aim for as close to a place on that big vein that you would have in your leg. He's gonna try to aim as close to that as possible, although I assume that there's still some armor there. Oops.
Yes, so ordinarily we'd give him a flesh wound bleeding or something like that, but instead this is smoldering, as smoldering embers are exposed within, just beneath the flesh. The Ember Warrior kind of uses their blade to knock your spear, kind of pulling you close in for a slash as they charge in, heedless of your attacks. They take another flesh wound. Yield or take a flesh wound.
Yeah, Jahi would take that flesh wound.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're back to you.
Nice. If I have armor tags, would that hit the armor instead, or it would just go around
yes, you can spend an armor tag to negate something.
Cool. I'll negate the flesh wound and then
Absolutely.
get rid of the tough tag so that it breaks his some of his claimed armor that he's no. My cool Empire armor.
Whichever tag gives you armor like that. I think that is tough
I think
instead
it
of hardy.
is.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. And what do you do?
Let's see.
Oh, I said, don't worry, Jahi. You can totally take this jerk's armor once you win.
Yeah, that's right. I do look like I need to kind of replace some pieces, so...
Stop talking and fight!
He's just Rita, stop it! You did the Sunch just talk to?
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that weapon inside your guard again. Yield or take a flesh wound.
All right.
I'm gonna assume that he's still kind of close to him, so now that they're a little bit closer in combat, his spear has a thing where it can kind of be pulled apart, like it has chains in between the pieces, so it can kind of, I'm trying to think of a thing where you can like fold up like a long piece and it like folds up into a smaller piece, but I can't remember what it is right now.
No, yeah, there's like a
Like a
some martial
collapsible.
arts stuff like that.
Yeah. So he does that and just kind of and uses it to just get a place where the armor isn't covering, like either like under the arm or something, just something that would cause it to be a lot more difficult to fight.
I absolutely think that would ordinarily be totally what happens, except you kind of come in striking and he keeps moving backwards and yields the duel. He smirks and says, "You're very good. You're very strong, but you are entirely too easy to mislead." And he yields the duel, but you realize that he's kind of lured you underneath a weakened piece of floor, which kind of falls not on you, but it kind of cuts them off from you as they make their escape. I think you and Jahi, you, Sunj, and Rina are all kind of in the dark for a little while before light comes through as a hand, a massive marble and stone hand crashes through the rubble and digs you out. And sitting atop the shoulder of the mech, which is moving, is Rohit.
Ah.
I found it.
Jahi's still in the middle of like his duel mind, so he's like, "You coward! Come back and fight me!"
Well, it's been like minutes, you know. You probably had time to shout at that.
He's still shouting.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's where we kind of leave everyone.
I grab the greave off the ground, and so I give it to you.
Oh.
The mech has been acquired. The Hua have been faced. All across Haven, people have a chance to breathe. And on the door of the temples of the Sages of Cinder, a note has been posted, nailed. It is marked with ash and incense and somehow still smolders at the edges. It is from a scoundrel and a heretic, someone who's been outcast from the order. And it reads, "To my haven. I see we are once again at the gates of war and misery. Our land may never be ours, as I always hoped it would be. I was against the Arbiters opening their gates into our world, fearing that with it we would be opening ourselves to the land's wrath. To a degree, I was right. But I'm also big enough to realize where I was wrong. I saw a flame in the heart of our land and feared that it would lash out, consume, and destroy. I was worried we fed the flames of Haven with rage, hate, and turmoil. But with enemies at our back and at our shores, a roaring flame may be just what we need. Haven, you are not a grand flame in the pit of our land anymore, but a field of candles flickering at the gales of imperialism. Together, you are stronger than the gale. Together, you are one people under many names. Burn hot, burn bright, burn together. When one fire dies, another erupts. I am not one with the land of Haven, but I am one of its people. As penance for my crimes, I bring with me my siblings from the ashes, thought dead, lost, and taken by our foul jailers who wish to lock us up once again. If this finds you before we arrive, prepare for war. Prepare as one. To my haven, Mithra."
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And that is the end of the penultimate episode of Haven, A Land Reclaimed, an actual play podcast brought to you by All Nerds Here, So Nerdware, where if you use the new updated code that is no longer in the description, you can get 10% off by So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. It's also brought to you by All Nerds Here, which has a Discord that you can join and has many shows in which you can find more of these folks that you just can't get enough of. In fact, here to tell you about the other big show is Simon.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, we've just finished up.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was the last one. Never mind.
But you can go back and watch all the VODs. It's a really great show. It's a really fun show. My name is Simon, and you can find me on Twitter at Lucha Libris. And yes, I am one of the cast members of All Nerds Here, like everybody else here. It was just on Royal Flush, a Wildcards adventure, which is a great run of City of Mist, which you can go back and watch. It was super fun noir superheroes, big mysteries, big cliffhanger at the end. Spoilers, but if you like it well enough, go to the Discord and yell at us so that we make season 2. A lot of cool things coming up the pipeline for the next season, none of which I can talk about, but we will be back. We're going to have one more finale episode for this show, and then this crew is coming back with a brand new edition of something else coming up, as well as another fun, lighthearted show from a different team. So keep your eyes on that. In the meantime, you can check out my games at colorspraygames.itch.io. I publish tabletop role-playing games over there. I also run role-playing games. If you go to magpiegames.com/curated-play, you can find out you can get linked up with me or many other fantastic GMs running games like Masks, Bluebeard's Bride, and the upcoming Root role-playing game. I'm a voice actor for the Penumbra Podcast, which is a queer sci-fi and fantasy audio drama. If you want to hear yourself represented in stories, that's at the Penumbra Pod on Twitter, thepenumbrapodcast.com, and available wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.
Excellent. And speaking of great games, we should definitely talk to Rue.
Oh, it's me time.
Oh no, Alex! Sorry, I'm looking at the Zoom call.
I was like,
Alex, what great games!
was such a good segue for me.
Everyone in this channel, which is great. Vidithia agrees. Speaking of great games, though, let's talk about Alex, creator of Dragon Hearts and the Dragons of Our Hearts.
Thanks
Please
so much.
sword.
So I am Alex. You can check out my games at fractaldragon.itch.io, and as of a couple days ago at unplaytested.itch.io. I've just started a new podcast, Unplaytested, with my friend Laura. We are making games that have never been played before because they never existed before, but now they both do exist and have been played. We made a Naruto game about what we thought Naruto was like without having seen it, and then we just played it on stream the other day. It was
So
super
good.
fun and super silly. So you can check that out and get it at our itch.io page for Unplaytested. You can go to unplaytested.com. That's got all the links to all the different stuff that we do. We got a Patreon, we got all sorts of stuff. It's a really fun new project, and if you want to come on the show and play a game with us that we've made, or come on and design a game with us, that is a thing that is possible to do. So check it out. It's a very fun, chill time, and I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. As I understand it, you accidentally just made Naruto, or a character from Naruto, right?
My Naruto character was too accurate, apparently. Yeah. So I'm mad about that.
I mean, that's just a good. It just means you're good at the designer stuff. Good at role playing games. Speaking of being good at role playing games, though, let's talk to Rue.
It's me. It's Rue. I am at Cherry Drop on Twitter. I'm the producer here and a couple other places. And follow me on Twitter because I curate a Twitter timeline to the best stuff. So if you follow it, you will sure to find good things.
Excellent. Then, of course, let's not forget Viditya. Viditya?
Well, I've
think
been
you're muted.
Viditya, and I. That's all I got. That's all I
No,
got.
Viditya is an amazing designer, the indie punk rock bastard of role-playing games. He has been an excited yife this whole session, which takes a lot of energy. Catch him streaming, or check out his games, or join the Patreon for probably the best Discord server in town. I'm sorry, I just call it like it is. And then, of course, there's Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. You can find me at all the places to unfollow and report me. All I have left in my life is this next episode of this show. After that, I have nothing.
What the heck?
I've been JR. I've been running this game and loving it. Thank you all for joining us as we have an unexpected but just as delightful one more episode. Thanks so much for supporting tabletop role-playing games, both indie games and by and for people of color and all stripes. We really enjoy being able to bring this, being able to share our perspective with y'all, and still get to play with all the normal fantasy tropes, because fantasy should just be for everyone, and everything's normal. Like Cartoon Network's making commercials about anti-racist stuff, and it shouldn't be new or shocking, but it is. That's just the world we're in right now. But thank you all for supporting this. We are delighted to have you all every time, and we will continue to be delighted as we come in for the home stretch. Tune in next week. You won't want to miss it. It is the conclusion to the previous 10 weeks. Everything that has happened before was nothing. You've seen nothing yet. You've not been watching a show even until you see this last episode. So please be sure and come check around for that. Do what Kevin says at Cartoon Network to make them pay us to make an RPG based on our show. In the meantime, are we rating anybody?
Yeah, we are rating Kupo Knight, who is
Excellent.
playing
Let's-
Marvel's Avengers.
Let's go raid
Hey.
Koopa Night before they decide to raid us.
And now we all have to do our
Which
best.
happened.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
happened one time.
It's happened several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, we want to be generous.
So stick around for that. In the meantime, we're just gonna hang out and talk about who our favorite minions are. So
Kevin.
And we have to do our best videos. We all have to go.
This is me trying to hold in my excitement.
About minions.
you look like you're a fighting game animation.
Oh, if only I had a sword, we could do the other idol Viditya animation, which is just to hold the sword.
I would accidentally stab myself with a switchblade trying to do knife tricks.
Oh, good. We've all been
come
there.
on, people here, huh?
This really does show that Viditya was the glue that holds us together. Get well soon. Come back. We miss
Save
you
us
and
from
need-
ourselves.
save us from ourselves, or to make it worse, and then we all look the same by comparison. There's 4 humors, so I can't even. That's not a thing. But there are 6
Yeah,
ingredients.
chocolate, strawberry, vanilla.
Blueberry, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, blueberry, orange,
And orange.
and
There's an
purple.
official good humor flavor.
It's not.
What are we talking about?
I'm just good. I'm gonna hit the rate
I
button.
hit the raise button.
You know,
Yeah.
purple isn't